William Kogut was a Polish immigrant living in Oroville, California in 1930. He had immigrated to America in 1914. Reports of his age differ wildly, but most reliable sources say he was 36. He worked as a logger, and for a period of about 10 days in late May 1930, he had been frequenting the rooming house of a Mrs. Mamie Guthrie for drinks. It was at this rooming house that Kogut became very drunk on the night of May 29th, 1930, and cut the throat of Mrs. Guthrie with a pocket knife, killing her. Kogut's account varied slightly over time, but he said he was so intoxicated he couldn't remember why he did it or even performing the act itself, but he was sure he had committed the crime. He went to trial and was found guilty on June 17th and sentenced to death by hanging. He was sent to San Quentin prison to await his time at the gallows. Kogut received a stay of execution after an appeal was filed and the date of his hanging was pushed back, but he was unwilling to have his fate set by court orders or the bureaucracy of the law. Since his arrest, he was determined to meet his death and have his life end for his crime against Mrs. Guthrie. He stated, "It's a life for a life, and I think you fellows ought to hang me." He made a plan to go out on his own terms. He tore up a deck of playing cards given to him to help pass the time in his cell. The cards contained nitrocellulose, a flammable chemical used for a variety of industrial purposes at the time, ranging from being a component in old film stock to use as a commercial explosive. Kogut had worked as a miner on the East Coast shortly after moving to America, which is where he may have learned about nitrocellulose's explosive potential. It's sometimes reported that Kogut specifically focused on the red cards in the deck, as they may have contained a higher concentration of nitrocellulose. While common at the time, the substance has largely fallen out of use, but is still present in some plastics today. Kogut removed one of the hollow metal tubes from the frame of his cell's cot and plugged up one end. He mixed the torn card pieces with a small amount of water and packed the pulpy mixture into the end and plugged the remaining opening. On the evening of October 19th, 1930, he held the tube against the cell's heater, placed the other end next to his head, and waited. The makeshift pipe bomb went off with a great explosion, waking everyone in the prison. The explosion was even heard by people in the nearby town. Guards rushed to Kogut's cell and found the right side of his head severely injured. He was taken to the prison hospital but never regained consciousness and died at 2:30 the next morning. He left two notes, one for the warden which stated in part, "Do not blame my death on anyone because I fixed everything myself." The second letter was to a Mrs. Bennyhoff in Oroville. He had rented a room from her and she had apparently treated him very kindly. She had even pressed and cleaned his one suit for him during his trial so that he could appear respectable. In addition to the note, he also left his estate to Mrs. Bennyhoff, totaling $19.